Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're gonna help you. We're gonna break down the busiest days at Walt Disney World. That's right, essentially the days you want to avoid on your Walt Disney World trip. And this is something that I'm very excited to jump into. I did a video a couple weeks ago about the cheapest Disney World tickets, but one of the things I learned as I actually sold tickets in Walt Disney World is some of the trends and some of the busiest days here in the park. So that's why we decided to create this video. So if you are in the process of planning a Disney World trip and you're trying to figure out exactly which days you should avoid, just be sure to stick around until the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. As you can see, we are here in the parks. We're doing all of this live. So if you are in the process of planning a Disney World trip and you want to get, you want to just be as prepared as possible, please be sure to go subscribe to our channel, as I have a lot more videos that I am in the parks creating to make sure you do have the most amazing Walt Disney World vacation as possible. So now, the way I'm gonna do this is I'm essentially just gonna break down, first and foremost, what are the generic days of the week that are typically the busiest when coming to the parks. And one of the things that I noticed when I sold tickets in Walt Disney World is most families would come in on either Sunday or they would come in on Monday. So essentially, a lot of families flying in. Typically, families will stay in Walt Disney World for 6 to 7 days, just because there's so much going on here. That is really, kind of the average Walt Disney World trip. So if you're flying in on a Sunday, makes the most sense. What is the first day that most families are hitting the parks? And that is, of course, going to be Monday. Monday is one of the busiest days, if not the busiest days here at Walt Disney World. The other two are going to be Friday and Saturday. So I'm also going to break down, based on the exact park, which is the busiest park, what are the busiest days for each park. But just as a general rule, those are going to be the 3 busiest days. We essentially have Monday, we have Friday, we have Saturday. Again, taking into account that a lot of families get here at the beginning of the week, that's really why. But then also, when you start to look at, okay, if you're coming for a week and you're starting to hit the parks, right, it makes the most sense that by Wednesday and Thursday, families are starting to maybe take a break. And we do see that, typically, I always thought it was Tuesday, just off my gut, selling the tickets at the park. But actually looking at the data, it is Thursday, and it makes a lot of sense. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will typically be the slowest. Sunday is another great day, depending on which park you want to visit. I might do a video on the best days to visit the Disney World parks. You guys tell me if I should do that video in the comment section. Let me know if you'd like to see that. But when you start to look and think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense, right? If you're coming and you're hitting those parks on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you start to take breaks, essentially. So Thursday is right in the middle there. A lot of families probably hanging back at the hotel. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday, they're hitting the parks again before they go back home. Another important thing to keep in mind is that, of course, we do have Florida locals that will come hit the parks on the weekends. This is especially true at Magic Kingdom and at Epcot. So that's essentially where we're starting. Those are the generic busiest days here in the parks. What are the exact busiest days throughout the year or busiest weekends that you might want to avoid if getting on very, very low lines and having low wait times are important to you? So of course, first and foremost, we do have New Year's Day. We then have Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. Over to February, we do have President's Day weekend. Of course, we have spring break. Spring break is different for every single state, so I would say essentially the busiest days are the entire month of March. I'm sorry, that's just my honest opinion. It doesn't mean you can't have an amazing vacation. You do the right planning, you get the right help, right, from people like us over at the Park Prodigy. But spring break is going to be very, very busy. Of course, Easter weekend, Easter week, little hyped up. And then going over to 4th of July weekend, 4th of July specifically over at Magic Kingdom, just because of the fireworks. We then, of course, have Columbus Day weekend in October. We have Veterans Day weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, kind of going, that break. And then, of course, Christmas break. Now, I'm actually in the parks. I'm recording this video on Memorial Day. So I didn't include Memorial Day on here just because I don't think it's as bad. I still think you can come and have a great time. Memorial Day specifically, for a lot of families, is typically the beach, hanging out by the pool. And then Labor Day, again, just because schools are pretty much right there. Kids in the South are back to school. Up north, especially where I'm from, New York, they're getting ready to go right back right after Labor Day weekend. So typically, they're not as bad as all of those other breaks that we see, like really right in the middle of the school year, or of course 4th of July weekend, where it's, at that point all schools are out and families are taking those trips. All right, so now what are the busiest days at each of the 4 Disney World parks? So again, I don't want anyone at home to get confused. I am at Hollywood Studios, but I am going to start with what I believe is the most popular of the 4 Disney World parks, and that is, of course, Magic Kingdom Park, where I work. So, what are the busiest days at Magic Kingdom? And of course, we do have Monday, we have Wednesday, and then we have Saturday. Moving over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, what are the busiest days at Hollywood Studios? And we do have Monday, Friday, and Saturday. All right, so we mixed up the background a little bit. Now, for the other 2 Disney World parks, what are the busiest days to visit Epcot, the park that I am currently at with the Epcot ball behind me? So, for Epcot, we do have the busiest days as Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And just as you can imagine, if everyone's going to Magic Kingdom Park on Monday, typically Epcot is the next, park that most people think about when they think about Walt Disney World. Moving over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, what is the busiest day to visit Disney's Animal Kingdom? And for this, we do have Sunday, Monday, and Saturday. So Animal Kingdom is a little bit different, but I guess we were anticipating that, right? Because you can't have the, if people are not going to one park, they have to be going to another, and vice versa. It can't always be a slow day on a Sunday. So how would I visit it if I was trying to break down the 4 Walt Disney World parks? That's the next thing I am going to kind of fill you in on. And the way I would do it is essentially on Monday, I would go to Epcot. On Tuesday, I would go to Animal Kingdom. On Wednesday, I would go to Hollywood Studios. And on Thursday, which is the slowest day here in Walt Disney World, I would go on to Magic Kingdom. I don't know what happened on my Google Doc, but it's actually writing this. I might have hit something like a, like text to speech or speech to text, essentially. Stop, stop, stop. It's just writing stop, stop, stop. All right, so now tying in a tip and trick as I just walked to another destination or location within the park. So I now broke down, my opinion on which parks I would go to on which day. Taking it one step further, my honest opinion is I would really just try to focus on getting into the parks on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday if you're looking for the slowest days. Every other day, I would just do what works best for your family. As you could see, the parks are going to be relatively busy. If you're visiting during any of the days I mentioned earlier in this video, like, New Year's Day, Columbus Day weekend, like stuff like that, they're going to be busier, right? But again, outside of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as like the slowest days here, I would just do what works best for your family. I really would. I would just most importantly have a game plan, know which rides you're trying to go on. If you work with a company like the Park Prodigy, you book your Disney vacation with us, we'll actually create custom itineraries just for you and what your family goals are on your vacation, right? I would say that is the most important thing as opposed to overthinking it and saying, I'm not gonna go to Magic Kingdom on Saturday, versus Friday, just because I think it's gonna be busier on Saturday. Honestly, I think there are so many things you have to worry about on your Disney vacation. I just think that not overwhelming yourself with decisions like that and just realizing that the park's going to be busy. You have a solid game plan, you'll have a great time. I think that's the best way to put it. All right, so some other tips and tricks to try to really avoid the busiest days here in the park, or really this tips and tricks would be, now that you know the busiest days, how to try to pick the slowest days, I would say pay attention to one-day ticket pricing. Now, the thing about one-day ticket prices, now specifically, and we could even take it further, going into trying to pick the best day to visit each Disney park, right, is specifically now in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but the ticket prices now fluctuate based on the day you're going to visit, but also the park you're going to visit. So Magic Kingdom typically will be the most expensive, but if you pay attention to Magic Kingdom ticket prices, you'll be able to figure out when Disney kind of expects crowds to be at a low, because the cheaper the Magic Kingdom ticket price, essentially the slower it will be within the parks. But also you can now pick, they change the ticket prices based on the parks now as well, so you can go and take a look and try to figure out, okay, is Hollywood Studios cheaper than Epcot on this day? So Disney might be projecting that Hollywood Studios is going to be a little bit less, it's the right word, a little bit less busy than Epcot on that day. So that is a great tip and trick to keep in mind as you're trying to pick the best days to come to the park. But also Disney Genie pricing now. So this isn't going to be something you can actually go and forecast, like look on a forward basis at this point in time, because Disney does not release the pricing until the day of. But there are websites out there that do have previous Disney Genie pricing, so you can go take a look and compare the days. So I would definitely pay attention to that. Or I am on forums all the time. Guests who are planning Disney vacation, because there's so much that goes into it and because of how expensive these trips are, they are on the ball, and a lot of guests will actually look at the Disney Genie pricing on a daily basis. So again, you could do that, but just a couple things to keep in mind to really try to pick the slowest time of year. But that is it, everyone. That it is essentially how you figure out the busiest days here in Walt Disney World. I really hope that you found this video helpful, and as a thank you for sticking around all the way till the end of this video, I do have a special promo code that you can go use on our website, theparkprodigy.com, and that promo code is going to be YouTube25 to grab you an extra $25 off some discounted Disney World tickets or discounted Disney vacation package, whatever your family might need help with. And of course, if you are still planning that Disney trip, like I said, just be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we have a lot more similar videos coming out in the coming weeks, maybe even that video on picking the slowest and the best days to come to the parks. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.